Hey everybody, Charles for HumbleMechanic.com. Today we're talking about mentoring the next generation of automotive technicians. This is episode 72 of the Humble Mechanic Podcast. So this all came about based on a conversation that I was having with a student at N.T.I, NASCAR Technical Institute. My boss and I shot down there a few weeks ago to try and recruit some new technicians, and I made a comment that didn't really hit me until later on in the day. But before we get into the show, we got to talk about the sponsor of the day, which is Rain Eater Wiper Blades. Wiper blades are one of the most overlooked safety features on the vehicle, and it's so important to have good clear vision out of the windshield of your vehicle. If you've ever had a windshield replaced, it's like the difference between seeing in standard definition and high definition, and that really does hit home the point of a good clean windshield. Windshield wipers are also one of the easiest DIYs for you to do on your vehicles, so check them out at raineater.com. I've also done a review on their wiper blades that I'll also put a link to in the show notes for you guys. So, like I mentioned in the intro, I was having a conversation with a student at N.T.I, and one of his concerns was being trained. You know, you go through these programs, whether it's N.T.I or Wyotech or Lincoln Tech, and they give you a decent base foundation to work off of. But you really don't know everything about the automotive industry or about fixing cars. Heck, I've been doing it for like 12 years and I don't know everything, nor will I ever know everything. But what I said to this student was, I want to have a good technician working next to me. I want to have someone that I can rely on. I want someone that I can go to with questions or problems, someone that I can rely on just like someone would rely on me. Later on in the day, it sort of hit me at how important that statement really was to him. There's a lot of facilities that you would go work in where they kind of just toss you to the wolves and, good luck figuring out what you're doing. And I think that's a really bad environment to put anybody in, especially someone just learning a trade. And that sort of got me thinking about my career early on, how I've developed over the years, some of the people that I've trained, and it really hit me hard that part of, what we as experienced technicians complain about, which is, new guys don't know anything, they don't have a work ethic, they don't know how to come in and fix cars, they're green, they don't know what a wrench is, they don't know how to diagnose things. And all of that is true, but the problem is they're new. When I was new, I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. Luckily for me, I had had some other work experience, so I had a good foundation to work on. I also had an incredibly good mentor when I first started. And that was sort of the thing that helped me, put the pieces of the automotive industry puzzle together and really develop myself into a good technician. But we as leaders, we complain about these things. We complain about these new guys, but we have to stop complaining and step back and look at why this is the case. Why don't they know these things? Well, part of it is our responsibility to impart on them this knowledge that we have. Now, I know you're probably screaming at the screen saying, Charles, I don't get paid for that. That's not my job. Take a breath, because I understand. I know how you feel. I did it for a long time, not really getting paid anything extra, to take these guys under my wing and train them and teach them and help them become better technicians. Now, that may not be an amount that you see on a paycheck, in dollars, but it pays off. Think about it this way. If you work next to somebody that's not a very good technician, let's just take all of the ways that it affects you. You have someone that doesn't work as hard as you. You have someone that doesn't understand the car line like you do. You have someone that doesn't know how to diagnose problems. So now when they get stuck, where do they go? They come to you. They come to you with questions. How do I do this? How do I diagnose this? Can I borrow a tool? I don't understand this system. I have a check engine light. What do I do? Now you're stopping what you're doing to help them. Whereas if you had a good technician next to you, that's not going to happen. Or if it does, it's going to be a really obscure problem that you're going to want to get involved with. You're going to want to know about. Because the more of these weird problems that you know about, the more likely you are to be able to solve one on your own. Plus, let's say you run into a problem. Even if you're the top guy in the shop, you're going to run into a situation where you don't know how to fix a vehicle. How awesome would it be to be able to rely on the person next to you, even if it's just to bounce ideas off? Hey man, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this? Have you ever ran into this? And they may say, man, I have no idea, never ran into that, that's really weird. Or hell, they might have the answer. Hey, I ran into it a few weeks ago, there's a technical service bulletin about it. It's, 140103, check that out and it'll walk you right through how to fix it. How valuable did that person just become? How valuable is it to have someone that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can ask for help? Because if you think you know everything, I promise you, you don't. And if you do know everything, couple of things. Odds are you're not watching this video. Also, you're probably not working in a dealership fixing cars. You're probably doing something a lot more high level than that. So for those of us at the dealership level, we're going to run into an issue where we don't know what to do. And it's so valuable to have a shop full of people that are resources that you can pull from in order to help be better and help fix cars faster. So like I said, I do feel it is part of our jobs as leaders in the shop, or experienced technicians, master techs, whatever title you have in a leadership role. It's our responsibility to take these guys under our wing and help them develop into the technician that they want to be. Now, I know you're about to get mad again because you're going to say, Charles, they don't have the work ethic. They don't want to come in and work hard. But part of that is true, and I understand it, and I deal with it. Hell, half the people of my generation are that way. But what are we doing to overcome that? Are we trying to find ways to motivate them, to help them understand? Maybe they don't learn like I do. Maybe they don't learn like you do. This is one thing that I struggle with. I learn a very certain way. I'm flexible in it, but I prefer to learn a certain way. Some people don't learn that way. And it's really hard for me to understand that, Tech B may not understand it the way Tech A does, so we may have to change slightly the way we work with them. Because again, the end goal is to build a whole shop, whether it's a dealership, whether it's an independent shop, whether it's your own, Charles Volkswagen Repair or Bill Volkswagen Repair on the building. It doesn't really matter. The better technicians you have in the shop, the better reputation your shop's going to have, the more cars you're going to be able to work on, the more you're going to be able to do for your customers. And in the end, I make comments about it from time to time, but in the end, the more money you're going to make. It's not all about the money, but that's a really important part of our job. Again, we place so much blame on these young guys for not knowing what the hell they're doing, but what are we doing to help them get there, to get to where they want to be, to get to where we want them to be, to get to where we need them to be? Think about what it was like when you first started. For me, it was about 12 years ago. The cars were very different than they are today. What's it going to look like in the last 10 years of your career? You're going to look back and go, wow, the last 40 years have been insane. Cars are so different now. We're going to need these younger technicians to come up and learn the trade and learn the skill and learn, not only the mechanical side, but the art side of diagnosing and fixing cars, because they're going to have to train the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. It's kind of like this. Have you ever been in a store where a kid was really behaving badly and knocking stuff off the shelf, yelling and screaming, and you look at the kid and you're like, man, that kid's got some bad parents. We don't always blame the kid. We put blame on the kid, and we say that's a bad kid, but the immediate thought after that is we look to the parents to understand why. Why is this kid behaving this way? Why are they letting him run around the store, knocking crap on the floor and yelling and screaming? Just like that example with the kids, we have to look to ourselves and look at our younger technicians and understand and think about and realize they're this way because this is what they've been taught, or they're this way because they haven't been taught another way. They haven't been taught a better way. They haven't been taught how to think like a diagnostic technician. They haven't been taught how to work the flat rate system. They haven't been taught how to care about customers and care about fixing cars right the first time. This isn't something that a lot of people got day one. There's some unique people out there that knew from day one this is the right way to do it. Sure, they can fine-tune the craft as they go, but that's a rare thing in the industry. More likely you have someone that's kind of there that knows they want to work on cars but doesn't know what the hell to do with this desire that they have to fix cars. It's up to us as mentors and leaders and foremen and journeyman, whatever title you have, it's up to us to take these young technicians, bring them under our wing, and build them into the technicians that we not only want them to be, but let's face it, we need them to be. We can't afford for the generation that's really good at fixing cars now to not pass this knowledge on to the next generation. Or we're gonna look at a situation in 10 years that no one's gonna know how to fix cars. We guard some of these secrets so close, and it really does become a disservice to the industry. Now, again, I know, Charles, I don't get paid for that. It's not on my check. I understand. Perhaps it's a problem with management. Perhaps it's a problem with the dealership or the service station that you work in. And maybe it's worth a conversation with your boss. And show him this video. Let him know how important it is to you to build this next generation of techs. Because it's important to me. Again, it all goes back to I want the guy working next to me to be as good or a better technician than I am so that I'm less likely to get stuck and I don't have to stop what I'm doing all the time in order to help them out. I've trained a lot of technicians and it's an amazingly cool feeling to look across the shop and see 5 or 6, 7 guys that you had a really heavy influence on training and getting them to where they are today. Sometimes it's not such a great thing because people let you down, but you look at the good ones and you're like, this isn't all me. This is 99% them. But I like to think that I had just a little bit of influence on where they're at. And I'll tell you what, after 6 or 7 years, when one of those guys is now in a leadership role in the shop, and he comes up to you and he says, man, I am really sorry. I used to think you were an asshole. To be fair, he was right. But I understand why you were the way you were, and that helped me get to where I'm at today. And that's a really cool feeling to know that you had that kind of impact on someone in their career. So, to my fellow mentors and leaders and shop foremen and journeymen and master techs and whatever other title you guys want, take a look at your shop. Think about what you guys can do for some of the young guys coming up in the shop and in the industry, and I got a really good feeling that eventually that'll pay off. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Question of the day. What was your mentor like when you first started? Hey, if you like the video, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. You can also subscribe on YouTube or on the blog at humblemechanic.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the blog, and obviously here on YouTube. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. No drink tonight. Oddly enough, I recorded a similar show in the car with the GoPro. My microphone died, so it had no audio. And I will tell you, destroying something sometimes is very cathartic, and ripping that microphone to shreds felt really damn good. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching.